Darrell.
Hello, hello, sir. How are
One
you?
of my favorite songs by one of my favorite bands, Adelina. Got Darrell Millar here, Border City Rock Talk. Stoked to talk to Darrell again. Last time I think I saw you, Darrell, in person was at Blaster here in Sault Ste. Marie about, it's going on 3 years now, something like that.
Yeah, that was an excellent gig for us. We really had a good time. That was a great show, and we had not been to the Sioux in a long time at that point, if you remember. We had not played a show there. We hadn't played a show there in 20 years, man.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to Andy Curran a couple weeks ago, and he had a funny story. I'm sure you know Andy, and he says, "Geez, yeah, you're in the Sioux." He goes, "Last time I remember the Sioux, I don't remember the Sioux. We had a night off from the East Gate. We went across to Sioux, Michigan, and drank." He goes, "I don't remember getting back to Canada. I just remember waking up in the fetal position in a hotel bathroom." So we had a good laugh about the Sioux.
Yeah, we've rolled through there many times over 40 years, but it was great. It was great to come back there and just see the fans were still there. You know, sometimes you wonder when you're in a band like the Dwarfs and you've been around for decades and decades, you go back to a market that you haven't been to in a long time. You're just hoping your fan base is still alive.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was just gonna say. That's part of it, mortality. But I mean, yeah, you've been with the boys since the get-go. You and Russ, founding members. But yeah, so we'll touch on a bit of the Dwarfs and what you guys got coming up in a second here. But I first want to get into you have a book being released on the 20th. Tell us a little bit about that. Your second actually book that you've written, correct?
Right. There isn't a set date right now though, because I've bumped things ahead.
Yeah.
For a couple of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest reason was I work with an editor when I'm finishing the book. You know what I mean? An editor comes in and works hand in hand with me to make sure things are worded properly. And I'm not a university grad here, right? I got 4 years of English in high school. So everybody that writes a book has an editor. I don't care if you need someone else to bounce off to get things maybe into perspective sometimes, right? So Sharon Lax is my editor. She worked on my first book too. And she's amazing. The best thing she does for me is she leaves my book in my words, because the fans really love to hear me tell the story. I know they do in my words. That's the charm of why they like my books. That's why my first book did so well. And I learned a lot from writing the first book to get to this second book. Yeah. So Sharon's almost done with the book, and I decided to release it in September now when things get back, because the summer is not really that active. A lot of people are at the cottage.
I was just going to say that.
A lot of things shut down, right? Yeah. So September is a better time to launch a book all around. So it's going to come out. It's going to come out in September, but I'm going to have pre-sales hit my site August 1st.
What's the site? Give us the address.
It's dunkspirateshop.com.
DUNKSpirateshop.com.
Right.
Okay, we'll leave a link there at the end of the article.
Before we get an online store. Yeah, I have an online store there. I sell all kinds of stuff, but my books are for sale there first, autographed and personalized. And then it'll go to Amazon after that.
Perfect. Before we get into kind of what it's about in the title, your first book, Guardian of a Timekeeper, that sold really well. And that, I mean, sales are one thing, but I mean, reception wise, I'm sure I know you were very humbled and how great a reception you received on that. Just tell the fans and the viewers a bit of the background on that book.
Well, the coolest thing about that book is that the charm of it is it's a short book of 10 chapters, and it's a quick read, and it's like it goes through a series of near-death experiences that I've had in my life, and the fans were not expecting a book like that. They were expecting the rock and roll book, which is my new book. My new book is the rock and roll book. Yeah. But this book, my dad had passed away, and I was basically in a grieving state, and I was writing memoirs to remember my dad. Really, it wasn't going to be. It wasn't going to be a book. It was just me jotting down memories of my dad, and so I wouldn't forget.
kind of therapy.
And, yeah, it was total therapy writing that book, man. It got me through it. And it turned into the book. And then I showed it to the editor, and the editor goes, "This is amazing. This could be a movie." Right. And so that's how Guardian of the Timekeeper came about. My dad actually saved my life a couple of times in a boating accident and swimming pool and stuff. So that's sort of how the book started. And then I realized I've been in 2 car accidents. And I mean, everybody's been in a lot of things through their life, but I've really had some really close calls to death.
Well, I had a near-death experience not too long ago. I'm a firm believer in those things. I'm a firm believer in there's different realms and frequencies in our life, and it's just not, you don't just die and it's black. You go to another existence. But I mean, the near-death experience thing, it's I've read about them, but I had one recently, and I'll talk about that one day. But anyway,
so that book got me onto the next book. That's all.
The new one's more or less, it's about your days in the hard rock industry and chronicling that. Obviously, I used the word chronicle, but tell the viewers the title and what the background is on that book.
So, I always wanted to write the story of rock of my life because I started out so young in it, but I was waiting to be a little older. You know what I mean? But now I am basically older. The story is not over yet, though. So I've been waiting for the story to end, kind of thing, because we're still touring. So so that's why I've decided to do the book. The book's called Thunderfoot.
2 words.
Chronicles of a Rock and Roll Pirate.
Nice. Volume 1.
Volume 1. Thank you.
So you're actually setting yourself up. You have to come up with a volume 2 next year. So, or
but this is the cool thing, because I said the story's not finished. The Killer Dwarfs are going to go back out and tour again. Yeah. So volume 1 has got me up to 1989. That's where the book. I've been touring for 45 years of my life. So I can't fit all that into one book, and I can't even get all the stories into each volume. But I've done the best I can. So I finished the first volume, and it gets us up to around 1989, where the Killer Dwarfs are recording Dirty Weapons record. So that's where we're at.
Right, and the funny thing, but the unique thing is when I do my writing, I can make an article so friggin' long on certain things, and I'm sure you go back and you're thinking to yourself, "Oh, damn, I could have included that memory into volume 1," and your editor's like, "Whoa, we got enough." Right? There's always something coming, memory-wise.
You know what? The cool thing about my editor, though, she's actually made me add to it.
Wow.
She's triggered a few things that got me to add to it. I wrote another 10 pages in the book with her.
So she's like your paper editor.
Yeah,
paper therapist.
I can't say enough about this lady, man. She really knows how to work well with me. Wow. And she sees things in the book, and she's reading it, and she goes, "This is great, but you're leaving me totally hanging here. You need to explain this more," because the reader's going to go and. But I'm like,
there's one thing of leaving a cliffhanger, but there's another thing where you have to summarize it up, right? You have to get the reader to rather than like, what's next? Like, leave me hanging.
Right. And this is the art of writing. Writing is a major art form, man. And like, I'm learning. It's a big learning experience for me, writing books. It's great.
I find a lot of artists and talent that I've interviewed over the years, they do write a lot. And I think it's because being on the road, tour buses and airplanes and away from home, there's a lot of free time. Like, I mean, you're obviously you guys are, you guys still have a good time, but you're not back in the, your 20s where every night spent partying. I mean, now it's like, okay, you enjoy the show, the next day you got 2 days off between, you're on the bus or the plane. And so you need to come up with other, hobbies or ways to socialize. And writing is very popular amongst, musicians for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of Russ for a second here, Russ reads a lot.
Does it? Yeah.
Russ reads more than anyone I know. Reads more books. I just finished Neil Peart's book.
Right.
The Ghostwriter book.
Right.
I just finished that book, and I got to tell you, it was a really unique book. It was a hard read, though, man. Wow, it took me a long time to get through the book. I just finished it yesterday, believe it or not.
Well, no,
picking away at that book for a while. It's just hard to read, I find.
There's some, yeah, you're right. There's certain writers that I want to get through the information, and you find it in the book, but it takes you forever because you put it down after 4 pages. Whereas, as you were saying, your editor likes your style. We like to hear the words, kind of like we can picture Darrell talking, rather than some of these, ghostwriters go and do the whole thing in their style. And it's like, he wouldn't talk like that. So, I mean, it's refreshing to get a book, and I've done it. I've read a 800-page book in 2 days because it's like talking to the guy or girl, woman.
Right. Yeah. And that, again, getting back to what you just said about my editor again, because I told her when we went into this book, compared to the Guardian of Time Keeper, I said, I'm going to be talking in my slang. You have to use some of my slang that I use.
Yeah.
That's just part of what the Killer Dwarfs are. And she gets that. And she seems somehow, so far, I'm really happy. I need to read the whole book again and sign off on it. That's the next stage.
Yeah.
But so far, what I see, she's really accomplished that, where you're reading it and going, you can see that she altered that to sound more politically correct. That's not Darrell saying
that's the thing, right?
So she gets paid the big bucks from me because she finds out how to do that somehow. I don't know how she keeps my, hey, you fuckers.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. That's her
art.
Her gift, and your gift is your storytelling and your songwriting and musicianship and that sort of thing. But yeah, so we're looking forward to the book.
Enough on the book now. That's good.
Talking about, I was talking to you last week, and you said Monday is good for to talk, and that was today. And so you said the rest of the week you're rehearsing. So you're back with the Dwarfs. You're rehearsing for a short tour or long tour, or are you guys in the studio working on new material? As I think somebody alluded to last year, that's a possibility.
Yeah. So here's how this is going down. I kind of just took it into my own hands and made the call on the rehearsals. Russ and I chatted. I mean, we chat pretty much every day on a text. And I just told Russ, I said, look, I think time is coming near where we could get the call, to start touring again. And I mean, how I'm seeing the climate of rock right now, and other bands in America starting to travel and tour, and Alberta's opened up. And our manager, actually, Robbie, who books the band, he's in Atlanta, Georgia right now.
Right.
And he went and seen a show last night. He saw Faster Pussycat and Enough's Enough and a band called Kick and Valentina. He saw those 3 bands. They sold out a 500-seat club in Atlanta last night. And he's down there actually starting the process to book us again in the US. So I was right. So the Killer Dwarfs have not been in a room together since December 2019. Think about that for a minute.
It's crazy.
Our last show was in Quebec City in December. So I hadn't been able to play drums in the lockdown. Thus, I invented the COVID condo kit that you see on YouTube. I invented all that. It got me through, man. It kept me playing. I wouldn't be able to hit a drum even. I went a year without hitting a drum. I felt like I was in a forced retirement. I won't lie to you. I was really freaking out for a minute there.
Well, for sure.
I'm not getting any younger. And that just ate up 2 years of Russ in my life of touring. And that's 2 years to us, or Aerosmith, or any band that's in their 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
That's scary. 2 years is a massive amount of touring.
It is.
For old guys. And
well,
we just lost that. So we got to catch up.
The fans miss it too. So, I mean, that show with Donnie V and Enough's Enough at Rob saw in Georgia. I mean, people are just chomping at the bit to get out to see these shows. So, I mean, we've got Buck Cherry coming through the Sioux in October. A lot of these people I'm looking at, their tours are being, their tours are solidified, and they're on them. I mean, the Americans have started their touring process. I think Buck Cherry did some shows in Florida about 4 months ago, but I mean, it's coming to Canada. Unfortunately, it took so long, but I mean, we're really looking forward to seeing you guys. Is there a possibility of a Canadian tour, like a few shows, or?
Well, absolutely. That's why. So let's just quickly, let me tell you about the rehearsal. I'm going in by myself tomorrow. There's a place in Toronto we go to called the Rehearsal Factory. It's a huge building with tons of rehearsal spaces. It's really cool, and we've always rehearsed there for years. Unfortunately, it's going to be closing at the end of July, believe it or not. So we're going to be one of the last bands in there. It's not going to be a condo. Some huge office company bought the whole building. They're going to turn it into their offices. So the rehearsal factory had 4 or 5 locations, and now there's only one. It's in Sherbourne. Yeah, so that's kind of scary. All the bands are clamoring to get into the one space now in Sherbourne Street in front, and it's sold out. So I can't even get a room in that one. But I did score the week here, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So I'm going in first tomorrow, and then Jerry comes in and joins me. Just Jerry and I. We get together, and then the band gets together for 2 days. And Russ isn't going to be at any of the rehearsals. He doesn't have to be.
Right.
This is just band rehearsals without Russ. Russ does his own rehearsing. He has his own little studio. He can sing. He doesn't. He lives in Aurelia, 2 hours north of here. He doesn't have to come all the way down to Toronto to sit and rehearse with the band.
Yeah,
the band is its own animal, kind of. You know what I mean? And I'm the band leader. I'm like the band leader kind of thing. I get those guys together. We get the band in shape. Then we hook up with Russ if we're going to tour, and we'll do some rehearsals with Russ. But right now, the only show booked is Monsters of Rock Cruise in February 2022. But I know for a fact we will tour this year, and it'll probably start in September. So I just want to knock out these rehearsals to get the band back to the point where if I got an emergency call and we had to go play, we would be ready. That's all.
Well, that's perfect. Well, that's great. It's great to catch up with your friends and stuff. They're not just.
I can't wait to see those guys, man. I can't wait to see those guys. We love each other. It's great.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see them. It's been this COVID thing's been a pile of horse shit. It's been.
Oh man, we're probably on the same page politically for sure. Like I don't know if you've seen my post on Facebook and Twitter, but I mean, there's something out there. But I mean, in my opinion, it's my opinion. Dwarf fans, just my opinion. I don't think it evolved from a pendulum and a bat soup. I think this was a little more sinister, and I think, well, I don't know. I shouldn't go into this shit because
that's not. We're not opening up that can of worms. I will say I'm double vaxxed. I'm double vaxxed. So was my band, and I'm not a vaccine guy. Before this happened, I haven't had a vaccine. I haven't had a vaccination since 1972. So I'm not a vaccine guy. I tried to stay away from getting vaccines my whole life. Not even the flu vaccines. I never get them. Me
neither.
This time was different. I know the political part of it. And if we want to tour, we have to be vaccinated. That's the bottom line.
That's the thing.
It's almost like I'm forced to do it, man. I hate to say it.
No, I get you, Darrell. A lot of people under duress have taken the vaccine, and they say they take it because their mother that's 96 years old is paranoid, and the family won't let you go see the mother without it. So I mean, there's a lot of duress involved.
I went through that too. You know that my mom's in long-term care. That was the other reason I had to get it.
Yeah.
2 reasons. One was the touring aspect.
Yeah.
And the cruise and the border and all that. And the rest was my mom's 92 in long-term care, and they all had to be vaxxed out right away. And anybody that visits them had to be vaxxed out too.
Yeah.
So I had 2 different reasons I had to do it.
There's a lot of variables for sure. So I think that's about it. Update the fans. I'm gonna put your website and where they can go and get the new book, which is released in September. Oh, before I let you go, well, I'd like to thank Marlo for helping us out here. Hi, Marlo.
Here's my daughter, Marlo.
You see her?
And the dog's here too. He never leaves my side, pretty much.
Oh, you want to hear an interesting story? North of the Sioux in Wawa, or near Wawa, there's a car accident about 14 or 18 days ago, and it was a serious one. Anyways, the dog in that car accident got out of the car, and they couldn't find the dog. They went back, and yesterday was announced 12 days later, the dog had gone 60 miles to their camp and came through the bush, and the owner found them. The dog.
Really?
After 14 days in the bush, the dog was.
Dogs they're amazing like this. You've heard stories that dogs have gone all across America to California to their home, from New York to made their way back home to California from New York City.
Yeah, no.
One important thing I forgot to say to you about that you asked me, the new music.
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up because I didn't want to let you go without that one. Okay.
I just get Marlo out of here for a minute.
No, she's okay.
You're going to edit this probably, right?
No, I'd like to keep this raw. This is good.
Yeah. Okay. So you asked the question about whether the Dwarfs were finally going to have some new music.
Yeah.
This has been the closest we've been to having new music, and I can almost guarantee that there will be at least a couple of tracks come out this year.
Beautiful.
It might not be a full record because these days, you know, what is a full record these days? It's making me wonder. You know, with my other band, Automan, I put out a single there during COVID, that Street Urchin tune. I mean, it's one song at a time, seems like, with people, how files downloading and sharing is going, right?
That's it. So, that's huge. I was talking to somebody last year, Joey Landreth, the Landreth brothers, and it's come to my attention that a lot of bands are doing that, especially upcoming bands are releasing 2 songs or 1 song at a time, and maybe get 3 songs out rather than a full 12 track album. And the reasoning behind it is they can get more views and more social media credit with the 1 song that they spend 6 months on perfecting, rather than going in the studio and being under duress to get it done in a month, right? So
there he is.
I was wondering what you're doing.
There he is.
Right on.
Go ahead. Keep talking. Go ahead. Yeah, you're right. Jasper.
Okay, Jasper. Right on.
So back to what you were saying. Yeah, didn't Iron Maiden just put a new single out? 1 song?
If they did, I didn't see it, but I'm going to definitely go check it out.
Writing on the Wall. Yeah, it's called Writing on the Wall. They just put a new track out in video. Maiden. It's really cool.
I have to check that out because I'm trying to get a hold of Steve Harris. Steve, looking for you.
Yeah, it just came out, that single. So see, Maiden just did it. Anyway, I'm guaranteeing you almost you're going to get some new music from the Dwarfs this year, and there'll be a cool package gimmick with it.
Yeah,
which we always do something, and it is in the works. We're planning. I just don't want to give any of it away. But we're working our best we can through COVID and getting together to write. And this is the first sign that there'll be some good to come out of this when I get in a room with Jerry and Johnny and we actually rehearse. So once that's out of the way, we're on our way to recording some new music. The songs are pretty much written.
Perfect.
So, okay, that's your answer there.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, Darrell and Marlo. This is going to be. You said this was an exclusive, correct? This is your first interview.
Yes, this first interview I've done in a year, probably at least.
Well, we're glad to hear from you. You don't look like you've changed, and the best of your health to you and your family. And we'll see you on tour, and hopefully we'll see you back in the Sioux. But we'll stay connected and have a great day. And cheers, man.
Absolutely, man. Thank you.
Okay.
Peace out.
Bye-bye.